Was that the last waltz I just heard from your phone?
Yeah, I love OSTs. I use them in my
You
videos.
make videos. Tell me more about your
I
videos.
do as part of my activism. I can't just sit by and stay silent during the world's first televised genocide. I modify jackets and give them away for free at pro-Palestine anti-genocide protests.
Which marches do you attend?
I usually go to the protests in St. Helens Town Center.
You should come to the protests at Liverpool City Centre every Sunday. We get a solid turnout. Everyone agreed not to stop until Palestine is free.
The Palestinians inspire me. Honestly, I believe the world needs Gaza more than Gaza needs the
You know,
world.
bro, I honestly think if we can liberate Palestine, we can liberate the whole Middle East. The colonial dictators need to go. The people need to take back control of their own destiny. Can I check out one of your...
You know what, bro? I'm definitely coming to those protests.
That's an amazing video. Seriously, please, can you get me one of those denim jackets?
Sure. Bro, I'll do my best.
Tell you what, brother, your haircut's on me. Consider it finished.
Thanks, bro. You really shouldn't have. You know what? I'll donate the £15 to a charity in Gaza in your name. Thanks for the haircut.
Never forget, keep talking about Gaza, keep protesting, and keep boycotting.
Looks like my taxi here too.
Off to 48 Smithdown Street for physiotherapy.
Yes, sir.
This is going to sound crazy, but the person who cut your hair and the physiotherapist, you're seeing both live in the same house as me.
That's crazy, so you all oppose genocide.
Of course, who doesn't? This is the first televised genocide.
I make jackets to support the cause. Do you want to see them?
Yes, please. Wow, they look great. It is like you are representing Palestine everywhere. You should come to the protests every Sunday.
Your friend told me all about them, and I'm coming this Sunday.
You see the physio, tell him that I said hi. Here's your stop when
Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
How can I help you?
It's my left knee. I made a sliding tackle 6 weeks ago and it hasn't been right since. I feel pain both when resting and when trying to run. The pain varies, some days it's very mild. Sitting on the floor triggers the pain after about 10 minutes.
So it's stopping you from running and sitting for longer than you like. Is it affecting any other way?
Not at all.
Any problems with locking, giving way, swelling?
Not at all.
May I examine your knee? Please let me know if I cause any pain. I suspect you have a knee sprain, specifically involving the ACL, anterior cruciate ligament. This ligament stabilizes the knee. With the right exercises, I expect you to make a full recovery. I'll demonstrate some exercises now and send you a video to guide you. If after 3 weeks you feel you're not recovering as quickly as you'd like, come back to see me. Return sooner if the pain
This
worsens.
might sound odd, but your friend Mike, the taxi driver, suggested I show you a video of the jacket's eye.
Why's that?
He mentioned that you both live in the same house and are aware of the genocide. I create jackets to support the Palestine protests.
In that case, I'd definitely like to see them. That's a fantastic idea and a very cool product. I'd love to have a jacket like that. Gentlemen, I am off to work on my sci-fi novel. Isha prayer is at 10 o'clock. See you guys in the prayer room. Salam alaikum. Chapter 5. The Offer That Was Too Democratic. At one particularly odd moment in galactic diplomacy, the United States of the Nebula, an empire famous for exporting democracy via airstrikes and importing influence in suitcases, offered the apartheid state a unique proposition. Join us, they said. Become the 51st star in our constellation of hypocrisy and confusion. This proposal came with all the usual perks. Military funding already happening. Veto immunity at the Interplanetary Court of Cosmic Law already happening. A fast-track membership to the Interstellar Genocide Federation. And of course, 2 whole senators. But to the surprise of absolutely no one who had ever studied advanced power arithmetic, the apartheid state politely declined. Not with outrage, not with offense, just with a small, satisfied smile and a short memo that read, "We appreciate the offer, but why settle for 2 senators when we already influence most of yours?" The ZPAC conundrum. The ZPAC, Zionist Policy Advancement Collective, was described by the guide as the most efficient lobby in the galaxy, aside from the Weather Control Syndicate on Mercury. With an annual budget exceeding the GDP of most asteroid republics, had mastered the ancient human technique known as legalized bribery through campaign contributions, paired with the much newer method of moral blackmail delivered in 4K. Senators who dared criticize the apartheid state found their inboxes full of mysterious threats, their staffers suddenly unemployed, and their re-election chances reduced to subatomic particles. Some tried to resist. They were swiftly erased from the political timeline using a device known as the narrative disintegrator, which worked by reframing any criticism of land theft or ethnic cleansing as an act of galactic hatred. The math of influence. As one unnamed ambassador, codenamed Gideon B. Flex, explained at a classified cocktail party, becoming a state would give us 2 votes, but remaining just special enough allows us influence over 70, 80, sometimes 90 senators. That's not a state, that's an empire. Without ever firing a single shot, just sending lobbyists with impressive resumes and untraceable checks. Conclusion: the genius of refusal. And so, the apartheid state remains proudly unmerged. It gets the money, the weapons, the veto shields, the glowing editorials, all without ever having to attend a genocide tribunal for its longest-running prime minister, or acknowledge the indigenous land rights within its borders. Some call this hypocrisy. Others call it strategic exceptionalism. The Guide calls it a masterclass in colonial diplomacy. Chapter 8: The Guide to Galactic Hypocrisy. The Tale of Isil and Heron. In the boundless, spinning madness of the cosmos, where gravity is reliable, but ethics are negotiable, there existed two neighboring planets locked in a relationship best described as a cosmic contradiction wrapped in a diplomatic absurdity, occasionally dipped in radioactive irony. One planet was called Isil. Isil was founded, as many planets in this galaxy are, by arriving somewhere that was already occupied, claiming divine real estate rights, and proceeding to redraw the map via ethnic cleansing. Its history was a swirling cocktail of ancient trauma, modern militarism, and a public relations team with intergalactic reach. To the mild confusion of sentient life everywhere, Isil had been given access to one of the universe's most restricted playthings: nuclear weapons, not the metaphorical kind, the real press-a-button-and-delete-a-city variety. Isil used this not to achieve peace, but to invade neighboring star systems, enforce apartheid-level planetary zoning, and occasionally vaporize schools, hospitals, churches, and mosques, all while receiving standing ovations from galactic councils and gift baskets from military aid programs. Meanwhile, a few star systems over, there was Heron. Heron was quieter, too quiet, according to intelligence reports. It hadn't invaded anyone. It hadn't tested nukes. It hadn't even threatened to build one, unless you count the theoretical physics papers that made military analysts very uncomfortable. And yet, Heron was sanctioned, isolated, and regularly scolded by galactic officials who described it as a regional destabilizer, a label usually reserved for planets that actually destabilize regions. From the Manual of Doomed Civilizations. Isil and Heron represent one of the most elegant illustrations of hypocrisy ever engineered by sentient beings, second only to the Intergalactic Ethics Conference sponsored by an arms manufacturer. Isil, despite repeated accusations of planetary displacement, war crimes, and the development of cosmic-scale firepower, enjoys full diplomatic immunity, accelerated funding, and free high-speed trade lanes. Heron, by contrast, has been banned from enriching uranium isotopes, enriching uranium reports, and even enriching the conversation. Attempts to point out this discrepancy are usually met with complex phrases like strategic balance, regional security, or our hands are tied, phrases which, when translated from bureaucratese, mean, we know it's unfair, but we like it this way. Visitors are advised not to ask too many questions, unless they enjoy having their visas revoked or their ships reclassified as threat vectors. Galactic politics in action. In official galactic forums, the contradiction between Isil and Heron is considered too sensitive for logic, and is kept safely locked in the diplomatic paradox vault next to other classic cases such as the democracy that bombed its neighbors for freedom, the alliance of non-aggression that keeps invading places, and the empire that thinks it's still a republic. While Isil's population enjoyed relative prosperity mixed with an occasional existential identity crisis, Heron's citizens rationed food, avoided sanctions, and tried very hard to look unthreatening at galactic customs checkpoints. Conclusion: the toolbox of hypocrisy. Back in the bureaucratic catacombs of the Galactic Diplomatic Corps, a Kafkaesque nightmare lit by fluorescent false hope, the architects of this madness could be found sipping overpriced beverages and quietly congratulating themselves. For they had achieved the impossible. A planet with nuclear weapons, that didn't have to follow the rules. A planet without nuclear weapons that had to follow rules it didn't even break. Power, as the guide gently reminds us, is never about consistency. It is about who gets to decide when consistency applies. Hypocrisy in diplomatic circles, the manual notes, isn't a bug. It's a feature usually bundled with a free trade agreement and a discount on fighter jets. And if you ever find yourself in that region of the galaxy, remember, keep your towel close. Keep your sarcasm filter active. And most importantly, never ask, but isn't this unfair? Because somewhere, a lobbyist is already preparing your cancellation memo.